a video about the frames. I wanted to go back there because I had read and reread the homework that some of you had sent in. And what I wanted to remind you is that when you have a frame from a childhood, it is actually very powerful in you. Not necessarily the way it was told to you. For example, if people told you you are a bad child or you can't do anything well, this is a very unpleasant experience, but actually what you learn from having to tolerate these messages and integrate them into yourself while you were actually seeing that you were able to achieve certain things, you were good at certain things, this creates a cognitive dissonance within the self and allows you to build skills that actually help you in life. So if you were told you're bad, or any impatient, incompetent, lazy, impatient, if I repeated that, actually what you could do is look at what message that tells you right now. So if it means you're impatient, maybe you don't listen, maybe you're not present, maybe you get bored, which means that you want to get rid of something before you feel the sense of responsibility or failure. Or maybe you get bored with something because you learn it quickly and you want to do something else. But learning, of course, has lots and lots of layers. You can learn something for 50 years, like the scales on a guitar or on a piano. You can learn the scales in a different way. So that's called mastery, right? So you learn at the street level, which is the face value, and then when you go to the Acropolis, you're learning completely different things. So if you're impatient or you get bored easily, maybe you just don't want to feel what it feels like to have to do something over and over, or to notice minuscule mistakes that you want to hide and you'll say, oh, I just already achieved it. So you can look at what these labels tell you today and use them. Because since you've had them as a child, you've actually mastered those frames. And all you need to do is shift them some or 180 degrees. It depends on what you want and what you need at this time. But if you shift them, you can actually make them very powerful. So let's say, for an example, you were told you were a rebel and you were a bad child. You were just doing everything that your parents did not want you to do. This rebelliousness, even if it did not get what it wanted, so to speak, like as a child, a rebel child gets punished more frequently, gets criticized more frequently, gets ostracized more frequently. So that child then learns how to deal with those difficulties. How does it feel to be ostracized? How does it feel to be criticized unfairly? How does it feel for someone to tell you you're really not good, even though you might feel good, or you may have some sort of proof that that's not true? So this makes frames very powerful. If we take them on as face value from whoever gave them to us, they're not useful. But the more you see those frames come into your life, the more you can learn from them. If you've learned a message, it stops appearing in your life. If you get the same message over and over in different contexts, in different ways, you're learning it. You're becoming more skilled in it, especially if you're aware. If you're not aware and you push it away, you're maybe missing the point. But these patterns that you see inside yourself, do people say the things your parents told you or your teachers or siblings? Do you get that experience again in today? What would it look like if you looked at it from the Acropolis and you look down and you're saying, what is that message telling me? Instead of what are those words they're using say? Or what is the tone of voice they use say? What are they telling me? What could I learn from that? Okay, so for rebelliousness, for example, it's a very, very powerful paradigm because you could shift it around. You're not going to be a rebel without a cause, a rebel with a cause. That's what a lot of leaders do. They're rebels, but they have a cause, so they use that. They can call it a vision. They use that vision to inspire themselves and then bring people around them toward that vision. It's frequently rebellious. No great leader we think about today was doing the status quo. They were doing something completely contrary to the culture, contrary to the times, in a rebellious way, but it wasn't necessarily, this just random pushing at anything. It was a cogent, a visionary approach to use that rebellious energy. So I'd like to remind you to go back to look at your frames and then figure out how are you going to glean the power from those frames. What skills did you have to learn and master in order to have tolerated that frame? What other behaviors did you do in reaction to those frames that you might use that were positive or even negative, that you can glean from an Acropolis perspective to be able to use them in a powerful and deliberate way?